Hi, everybody. Good morning. March 1st. It's like let's do this. Now it's July. Anyway, we are here. It's, kind of sunny for Cleveland, but not really sunny. And March 1st. So hopefully crocuses are budding and we're going to get a sense of birds chirping in spring. And today, what we wanted to talk about actually came out of a discussion that took place in our Facebook group, Working Hard to Raise Teens. And so it's really interesting the reaction people get based on how they pose their question. So if you go in there and you're a little too confident, that doesn't work so well for people. They don't love that so much. Generally, in the comments, we feel that. If you go in and ask just a question, like, here's what I'm struggling with. Anybody have any thoughts? You'll get thoughts. But if you go in there and ask what you're looking for, like, I am feeling fragile and vulnerable and I need support, you will get support. So it got us talking about, like, when are those times in our relationships where we might not be as clear about what we want? And I'll say that I think a lot of it has to do with the media. I mean, not to blame the media, but just how we picture what is a wonderful romance? It's when one partner anticipates the needs or the desires of the other partner. And there's some sharing of a gift or something, and the other person going, I can't believe you figured out exactly what I wanted. But like in real life, at least in my life, it doesn't happen that much. And so the best is when I actually say what I want, what I need. Tonight I'm tired, I'm cranky, I need for you to cut me some slack. Like those kind of scenarios, when we're aware of what we need, probably get us better yield in the outcome. So I'm going to pass it to Eka because she might have to leave to share what her examples are of being able to say what you want and how that works.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Back pre-COVID, my husband used to travel all the time. And when he was going to go on a really long trip, sometimes he would go to China and he'd be gone almost 2 weeks. And I would sit down with my children and I would say to them, girls, your dad's going to be gone. It's just me. It's going to be really hard on all three of us. I'm going to be the only one here. There's going to be no reprieve on weekends. Let's just try to make it work. The three of us. You guys know what annoys me. I know what annoys you. Let's really try to work hard because there's nobody going to come in, because my husband was a lot of times the mediator of, mothers and daughters. And he would also was my sounding board. So I would say that to them before a long trip. I didn't use it a lot because he was gone 3 or 4 days and I could do that. But when he was gone for 2 weeks and maybe more, we would have, a sit down meeting about expectations. Let's just really try to work hard. Let's not try to make it, full of stress. And it really worked. But it was a card I held in my hand for those times when he was going to be gone a long time, because those weeks were hard without any kind of backup. And you know what? If there's any single moms out there, kudos to you guys for doing it, because it was 2 weeks and I was like losing it sometimes. So, okay, I'm going to pass it down to my bud Jen, who's right below me.
Thanks, Eka. I think one of the most magical things was when I received the advice at some point, and I have passed this advice on to many other people, that sometimes you need to ask your kids what it is they need from you, because we want to jump in and fix it right away. There's somebody being mean to me at the lunch table and I'm like, I'll call her mom, and it took me a while to realize, wait, maybe they just need to feel sad about it. And then they're fine and they move on. These things take on a life for us that it may not even have for them. So at some point I realized they were old enough that I could say, is this something you would like me to help you with? Or do you just want to kind of have a little sympathy from me and help you feel better? And the culmination of this was for one of my kids in college who was having a little bit of a hard time, and she wanted me to come visit, and I came to visit, and I said, do you want to talk about it? And she goes, not right now, because we're in public and I need to be able to lose my cool. So I said, okay, so how about this? Let's go to Walmart and buy your shampoo. And then in the parking lot afterward, we can cry in the car. And she goes, that's perfect. Let's do that. And that's exactly what we did. And so like, ultimately, if you train each other to know it's okay to ask for what you need, I think that's the pinnacle. Does it always work out perfectly? Of course not. But I think that's the goal. Hopefully that advice is helpful to you. I'm going to send it up to Emily in California.
Good morning. So I will dovetail a little bit on what you said, Jen. I think for me, I was definitely learning that lesson as an adult. And I think that a lot of times just saying what you need, it's not that you need anybody else to do anything for you so much. It's just you need to say that you need something, and then usually you can do it for yourself. But I think for me, that's been like, if I, like what Sue said, like cut me a little slack today, or we have this family golf thing we've started doing on Sundays, but like we've now allowed each of us to have a pass to just say, you know what, this is a family thing. It's important, but some weekends we're just depleted. We never have any time alone in the house anymore, all 5 of us. So some days you just need to pull back. But I think initially the idea of, I don't know, I grew up in a house where you really didn't say what you need a lot. It was much more about just like pull up your pants and get on with things. And so I think the idea that you could say what you need, and that oftentimes you really were not asking anyone else to meet your need. It's just to witness it, and then you go off and do what you need. So I don't know if that's clear or not, but I'll pass it to Jody.
Hi, everyone. Sorry it was late, but something that my husband needed led to me having to go outside and talk to someone. So anyway, so I have a couple things to circle back. Jen, it's right. Like when you don't go first, you get to like kind of talk about things that other people have said. So, I can really relate to what you said, this whole idea of like, what do you need? And I've had like some great conversations with my daughter. She's like, I just need to cry right now. I know we have this joke now, like sometimes you just need to cry and then you can get on and kind of figure things out. And so, we kind of say like, never underestimate the power of a good cry. But I think like the hardest thing in these needs, and it's not just this year, but this year has been harder, is this whole idea of boundaries and like, where how do you set these boundaries between your work and your home and your this and your that? And that has been, it's really hard. And I think it's really hard to be able to say what you need, because, I live in a house where a lot of us will say, oh, I need to do this for work. And then, we've actually started stepping back and saying, do you need to do that right now? Like, what is does this have to happen right now? Can you do this later? How do you organize it? Like, how do you set these priorities? And I think those are really good conversations to have. And especially because, I think about it now, like what I'm modeling for some of the people who live in my house at the moment. So, and the last thing I want to say about like saying what you need, I also think it's interesting because, in this, like we all have friends who have had hard times and everything. And the other idea that just comes into my head, and I know, Sue, this is off topic, but this idea that we need to do things, we want to do things, or we need to do someone for someone else to make ourselves feel better, even though it may not be what they need, and trying to like find how to, fill the balance of like, well, I want to bring you something to eat. I know everyone in your house has COVID, or I know you just had this, what can I do? And, so I think it's another side of this. This is being able to say, it would be really great if you could do this. Like last night, I have a friend who has just had one string of, I can't even say bad luck, I'll say calamities over the year. And her latest is that her whole house just got tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? And she finally texted me and asked me to do something for her. And it made me feel so good. And it wasn't what I had offered, but it was something that she needed. And it was so great to be able to, say, okay, like I can watch this and, send you a few ideas or whatever. It was, really made me feel good. So there's several sides, how you make the other person feel when you can say what you need to. Okay, Kamira, how are you doing today? How about you?
I'm fine. Thanks, Jody. I like what you said about the COVID. It actually reminded me, I have a cousin who tested positive, And I knew she wasn't going to, she told me a couple days after it happened. So it was clear she wasn't going to tell me her needs. So I sent down to some group me list I have, tell me what she needs, especially my medical people in this community. So that was kind of once removed. So they told me what she needed. I met the need and presented it to her. And then when she healed, she was like, oh, thank you. That was so wonderful, the things that you guys did. I am horrible with this. I really do expect the people closest to me to read my mind and to like go through make Herculean efforts to do things for me and to know what I need. And I was thinking about this, the one area where I've done pretty well, but I really need to do better is I'll say to my husband, you know, I really need you to take me on a date, or it's time for you to give me a gift, a little gift, but nothing, you know, nothing major, but I'm feeling the need for a gift. Or every so often I'll say, actually, I need something really special. I need a real special gift, whether it's a holiday or not. So I've done pretty well. And I think that's just long-term marriage things. You kind of slide into these things and work around personalities. But I'm still working hard at saying that the more difficult emotional needs, I need you to do this for me or to be available to me in this way. So this conversation has had me thinking about it. I'm going to get better. I'm going to pass it up to Sharon.
Sharon, I'm going to jump in first because Rebecca brings something up here and I just want to share it because I want to be really clear, Rebecca, that we're not sharing the times we suck. So this is not a 24/7 job of moms to model perfection all the time. This is so aspirational. And we're, you know, the idea of having these conversations and that we have to keep sharing with everyone who's part of it and listening is, you know, we're all messing up all the time. It's such a forgiving job. And so now I really appreciate what you brought up. But I also want to say that we are today not sharing the failures, but I'm sure we will do that another time.
Wait, I'm going to share one.
Wow, thank you, Sharon.
This was, well, it was a triumph and a fail. So I actually thought I liked seeing Rebecca's comment come up because it kind of related to me because I was feeling kind of sorry for myself just yesterday afternoon. And I said something, I was getting irritable and the kids were sitting around doing whatever. And I was like running behind with all these things I needed to do. And then I had to go get dinner. I was the only one who could go pick it up because my oldest can't drive yet. And my husband was in the thick of something. So instead of just pouting, which I did do, and I said, I feel like I'm doing everything and everybody else is just sitting around. And then finally, before I left the door, I said, you know, you're going to vacuum these 2 rooms. Then you're going to give the vacuum to that one. And they're going to do that. And blah, blah, blah. And I gave everybody specific directions. I said, this is what I need to do. I'm the only one who can go get dinner. And then when I was in the car getting dinner and I was 5 minutes from home, I called my husband. And I said, I think the kids have been working. Can you now, I'm going to be home in 5 minutes. Can you go and set the table? And I came in the door and the table was set and the floor was vacuumed. There were still crumbs in places that I would have gotten the crumbs, but it had been attempted and I felt so much better. And maybe that was something to do with the fact that I spent 30 minutes in the car by myself too. But all told, I was so glad that I just said, you do this, you do that. That's what I need. Instead of just saying, I'm doing all the work and everybody else is having fun. So I had a little tantrum, but it all worked out. All right.
I got to interrupt. I have to say, Sharon, because you just I'm sorry, but it's so interesting to me because I like talking about failures. Like I sit here and I cannot tell you, I mean, it's probably like a little monthly outburst where I look at my people. I'm like, is it not possible that you could do something without asking? You know, like, I mean, and so there is like this, it's like the conundrum here because I feel like when I have to, and again, my kids are older, so it's a little bit different, but I feel like when I have to ask, it's part of the frustration for me, like, especially for like the household chores. I think it's like a little different, but it's like, you are eating and you are seeing the dishwasher run and you are noticing that you have to open it to get something out. So can you not finish the you know, it's like this, it is a really interesting, like, but you're right. You know, if you just ask and say, can you do this? They do it. And then you don't have to like, let it boil up in you that they haven't done it. But I don't know. Somewhere out there, like there's gotta be some, I'm not going to say magic, but there's got to be something that happens where they actually just take this on, on their own. But
I'm waiting for that to happen. And I think the places where I see it happening first are places where we have an established routine and expectation. Like after lunch, you're supposed to wash all your dishes. Now we've been home for a year, but in the last week, a couple of children without reminders have washed their dishes. It's only taken a year and they probably won't do it every day, but they're getting there. So I don't know. I mean, yesterday it was something unusual that I needed help with. It wasn't their normal chores. But so in that case, I didn't feel that bad that I had to state it. But if it is the routine or it's like just like putting away a dish that or clearing your plate, like they should know that. But I guess we can even say to them, hey, you know what I really would like to see? I would like to see it happen without a reminder. That would really make my day. You know, you could be my hero and just be, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to pass it to Jessica.
All right. I mean, I'm one of those people that's very bad at telling people what I need and then just kind of being sad about it. And I've recently been making more of an effort to, like, if something's going on, just say to somebody like, all right, I need this. And every time I've been surprised when they've been like, yeah, sure. I don't know why it comes as a surprise that people are willing to do things that I need. I don't know why I feel like they need to read my mind when I don't do it. And I mean, some of that's just anytime somebody asks me for anything or says something about being vaguely sad, my brain instantly goes into overdrive of like, all right, I need to figure out exactly the perfect phrase, the perfect combination of words that will cure every single problem in their life. And which is not, I'm sure as soon as I have children, they're going to be subjected to that and they are going to be very unhappy. So I need to, and I'm probably going to need to get better at modeling the ask for what you need rather than me trying to analyze every single possible turn of phrase. But I see Sue has unmuted herself.
So what I want to say, my takeaway from today is it's not a perfection thing, but it's a practice, because I don't think any of us really know how to do it well. And I also think that, like, there's nothing more delightful than someone figuring out what you want, but it doesn't always go that way. So, maybe there's some kind of clarity in our minds of if it's not happening, if we expected. The thing about surprise is you shouldn't expect it, right? That's just joyful when it happens. But the thing about needing something is being able to maybe find the words to articulate it, and not in like the passive aggressive mumbling that I do when everybody's busy having fun and I'm in the kitchen, like maybe just going out there and saying, hey guys, everyone's having fun but me. Would you love to help me in the kitchen? Like just those kind of approaches that are more direct and honest to how we're actually feeling. So anything from the audience that you want to put in there? Rebecca, I'm really grateful that you added that, because I think that was something really important, although I did not need to jump in because Sharon was already going to address it. So
can I say something, Sue?
Yeah, sure.
So I think something that I think this comes up in one of the articles that we have actually about self-compassion, but I also heard a talk about this, is that idea that if you think of your needs the way you would think of them as if you were talking to a friend who asked you what they needed, you would be so much more compassionate and you would honor your feelings a lot more. And like, think that little like trick in my mind like helped me reframe things a lot. I think it's a great way of like practicing that, to think of your own self as you would one of your best friends or your spouse or one of your children.
Okay, Ekka's going.
Rebecca, as for your comment, all of the things that I did as a mother, I'm telling like the epitome of my awesome motherhoodness. It was way down. I had a lot of like bottom things, and the whole thing of asking my girls, like, we're in this together when my husband was out of town, was because sometimes by like day 4, I was like Mount Vesuvius, and I knew I had to do better. And this is, so this is in their teens where we had been doing this for a long time. So believe me, when I come to this meeting, I'm telling you like my most awesome moments, but there are so many of them that I don't think I'd want to share with anybody. And when I think about them, I hang my head in shame. So I will tell you that I was not, but this was one that really worked, which is why I shared it, because it really did work when we sat down and wrote and thought about expectations for all three of us, knowing that we didn't have that person who was our sounding board. So Rebecca, I understand, believe me, I wasn't that great at it, but I tried.
Well, maybe we've done this before where we've shared what didn't work, but we didn't take our own. So we'll have to do that.
That's what I was going to say. We did mom confessions, and we all read somebody else's.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that. We'll have to revisit that. Jody?
But speaking of needs, and also because I saw Jen's, I don't know if that was our top model cat. Was that our top model cat that just crawled across you?
No, that was the other one. She needed to be petted at that particular moment.
Okay, well, your cat needed to be petted, and maybe people need to sign up for the college, for Destination College. So I don't know, Jessica, if you want to put it in the link, but we're just less
and the meme.
How many days away are we from Destination?
We are 8 days today.
8 days away from getting your needs met if you have a kid who's thinking about college. So it might be a really good, it is a really good option if you're trying to understand what needs to be done. I'm going to just use the word need a million times now and pun on it, but what needs to be done. And we've got these great experts who really know what's going on. So if that is something that is causing you stress, this could be a really good option. Every Tuesday night, for an hour with these experts that are sharing what they know and the most recent knowledge, anything that you're thinking about. So, all right, sorry. Couldn't resist.
Okay, everybody, have a great week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us. We'll let you know what next week's topic is sometime before we get on. And that's it. Thanks for being
here. From us.
What, Jen?
You should tell us what they need from us.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Put a topic in the comments, guys, and we'll address it next week. That is such a great idea. You don't have to do it live and we won't share it, but just go back into the comments and let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Thank you, everybody, for being with us at Behind the Scenes, and we'll see you next week.